Hello, Martin.
Hello, mate.
How you going?
I'm really good. This is a director's commentary.
Of the Buying Parts from Japan episode. This is the intro sequence, of course. Shot in an old aircraft hangar. That thing that we just walked past then is landing gear from a Boeing plane.
From a 747, that's right. It was massive.
We tried to fit that inside the engine bay, but it didn't work.
This is all Iron Gav's brilliance.
Iron Gav's amazingness.
The logo. I like how the logo lands behind our heads somehow. That's pretty
that
clever.
was cool. The white S15 in there, of course, was not my car, Martin.
That's right. It looked a little bit like it, but it had no wing. It was borrowed. We thought it was quite topical to have an S15 in there.
So these shots were taken really early in the morning, like around peak hour. We went out at around 7:30 in the morning and took out some great lenses and stuff, and literally just walked along with the flow of people, then just turned around and set up the camera. Rake was standing just to the side to make sure people didn't hit all my stuff, and they were looking at us pretty weird.
One of the biggest stations in Tokyo, this is actually as well.
Yeah. It's funny, there's a kind of interesting bit, this next shot. Check out the girl walking to the left. When we see the girl there, looking over, what the hell's going on? A problem I had when I was editing this is I thought everyone's going to think that we bought that car, which we didn't, but we needed this shot of us arriving in Subarus. First time I'd driven a Forester, by the way, Martin.
That's right, that's when the love affair began. On that Gen 3 to the right will probably be mine one day.
That Forester was awesome. That's what I wanted. That was great. First impressions, Martin, when we first saw this car, what did you think?
It was interesting, especially considering how far we travelled to go and see it. It's like, we're here now, we can't go back even if we want to. But it was so awesome in many ways. Like, it's obviously such a nugget. You can see by the way the guards are rolled, you can see the big dirty front mount on the front of it. But it still kind of looks cool. But in Japan, it was worth nothing.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think that's the thing, like, exciting. It's an exciting thing buying a car on the internet, and obviously if it's your main daily drive, that's kind of scary. But spending a couple of grand, flying overseas, going out into the rice paddies and picking up a car was really exciting.
Yeah,
it was fun.
The experience was just awesome. And a few people have said, we shouldn't have cut this thing up. But literally, if we hadn't taken it and cut it up and used the parts from it, it would have just been scrapped. So,
It was really nice doing this shoot. This shoot was done over 2 days, actually. And we were literally in the middle of the rice paddies, and it was kind of one of the nicer locations. We filmed stuff in UK and US and Australia, and it was Japan a number of times, but this is one of my favourite shoots.
And it was typical Japanese weather, like it was hot. It was over 30 degrees. It was so humid the whole time we were there.
It was really hot driving around in the car because we needed the windows up so that we'd get good audio. But amazingly, the air conditioning worked.
It did. We figured that out halfway after we'd already sweated.
The dirty R12. Yeah. What was that orange thing sitting up there, Marty? It was like an air freshener or something?
I think so, yeah. It had a couple of air fresheners in them. Quite a few were dead already. And so those containers sitting there, they will end up in Australia, which is pretty cool.
So the guys from Import Monster let us use all their gear, which was awesome. I've got to say, this is probably my favourite thing of buying a car, Martin. This could be more fun than actually driving it.
This is, I do love this.
Automotive archaeology. Now the thing is, I forgot, because there was a bit of time between filming this and actually... the time between filming it and making it is that it kind of looks better on camera than it did in real life, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just draw attention to everything. And so many switches and random things in this car that we just could not figure out what they did. There was wiring looms that went nowhere. There was gauges that did nothing. It was such a beast of a thing.
And this is the first time we'd actually looked through the car. So, when we were filming this, we were literally working it out as the camera was seeing it, because we'd never looked through it before. So much garbage in there, wasn't there? Cool little design though, like down near the passenger footwell is a bin there. It kind of pulls out, which is a cool design.
And in the back seats, and that seems to be pretty common with all the Japanese cars I've been in over there. They love their accessories. It's like, I can put a bin in my passenger seat, so I will.
There's also that culture though of when you go to the service station, the guys come and take your garbage away. That it probably points to a more cultural significant thing of eating in your car, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've kind of set it up that there's going to be mess in your car and they'll clean it up, so I guess it makes sense to have a bin.
We've got our usual assortment of dream
And there was quite a few spare parts in there, but we couldn't figure out why the parts were there because they didn't.
As wrong as it gets. So that's some
Like nothing on the car was bent. They weren't. The things in the boot weren't wrecked. They were just literally spares.
I think what had happened though, I reckon 24 hours before we bought the car, it looked quite a bit different than how we got it. And I think somebody's literally put it back into a state they can sell because there's no way that factory exhaust would have been on it.
Yeah, well, that's right. Not
What
if
do
it's
you think?
drifting. Yeah, if it's drifting, I doubt it.
Look at this. It's
And it was set up for drift. And you would have had some massive wheels under those pumped guards too.
It wouldn't have made sense to leave that stock exhaust on there when exhausts are so cheap and you get so much more power from putting one on there.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, wow. I'm not sure what's with you and wearing things you find in cars, but
that's been. I'm going to
pretty
lick
funny.
it later.
Yeah, I don't know, mate.
So coming around this side of the
Tasted really salty though. We didn't
this.
use that bit. It was a bit awkward,
This is
but
a
it did
baseball
tasted
backdrop
really
here. Look
salty.
at that.
Wow,
Look at the
baseball
quality.
bat guard
Look at the
rolling.
quality of that, Martin. Did you
Yeah, there would have been
notice
some
these?
big
They're
wheels
all
under there, I
Did you notice
suspect.
the paintwork and panels? They're all
It's that
different.
typical Japanese
I
thing
love
of
it.
drifting
I'm gonna
cars
show you
though.
under
They
the,
just don't
under the
care for the
hood.
show. It's
No.
just like want to go sideways, don't care about anything else. And I think that's kind of been distorted a bit, probably for marketing purposes in Australia, where
Yeah.
people think that that they need to have their car looking amazing, but it is just an appliance for them.
That's right. Well, I mean, in Turbos and Temples, all those cars, there's probably one or two clean ones, and the rest were absolute nuggets.
Yeah. I saw actually, Marty, on a Suzuki forum, somebody who'd seen our 2012 meet video, and there was a close-up shot of the cable ties holding the exhaust together.
Yep.
And this guy on there was breaking his bumpers and then drilling holes in it since seeing our video and then putting cable ties through them.
Oh, drift stitching, I think they call that.
Yeah, so it'd look cool.
He was drift stitching it to look cool.
On a Swift.
Right.
Over here we've got Rob.
They go
Rob
sideways.
owns and runs
So there's Rob. He's got a really beautiful family and great kids. They were hanging out with us for the day as well.
Yep.
We brought Rake and Ben, of course, just because extra hands. We didn't have a lot of time.
No, we didn't. We
One
had
day
pretty
to do
much
all this stuff with it.
finish it. And that's Rob's warehouse, which is also a big workshop in there, and a whole bunch of tools and all the stock that's going to Australia.
We had delicious sushi for lunch that day.
Yeah, I love
and
sushi. It's my
katsu and
favourite.
other delicious things.
Yeah, that was a good feast.
I like that. I'd said to Rob, I was like, wanted a bit of process. I was trying to probe with my question, like, what do we do now? And he's like, cut it.
Which is true. It's exactly what we do.
First up, you had to jack up the car, Martin.
Oh, that's surprising. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
First, jack up the car. Then
It's quite a weird feeling looking at just a car sitting there and then just thinking that you're going to put a saw through it. And I just couldn't believe how easy it is.
It is. I mean,
It was hard work, but it's not.
I mean, it was hard work because it was so hot, but on the other hand, it's kind of one of those things that cutting the car took 15 minutes. It's doing all of this stuff first that takes the time. And if you're in Australia, you probably don't even need to get rid of all the weight. You could just cut through. But the thing is, we didn't want to take up a lot of room in the shipping container. Seats were so heavy because they were electric.
Massive.
They were just massive.
3 little motors in them just taking up weight. It's a nice little collection of cars sitting around there as well. Some of those are customer cars that'll be
We
imported.
expect this was actually a drift car, so
hopefully none of those will be cut in half.
The wiring harness into the engine bay,
Not
so
until
the
they hit a telegraph pole, Martin.
That's right, yeah. Sideways.
So as usual, this was shot on a whole variety of different cameras. There are about 5 or 6 cameras on the day. Somebody had left a comment saying, why didn't we all just, there were 4 of us, why didn't we all just get in the Forester at the same time? But our boot was full. We had cameras, light, audio kit, then we had all the hardware as well, like dollies and tripods and stuff. Like we had so much gear, but we literally, Marty was in Japan for a week. I just came to Japan for this shoot, so I was only there for 48 hours basically, and we just needed to make sure we could get everything we could in that time.
And getting ready to be disposed of by
And there's a lot of footage of this aircon stuff in there because it's probably one of the most important things. I mean, letting aircon gas into the atmosphere is kind of a bit of a no-no, so it's important that we do that properly and show it because it's the way it's done.
Yeah. I kind of didn't feel that sad feeling. I think a few people looked at it and kind of went, you shouldn't have cut it in half, but I knew that's what it was for.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, pristine showroom example. I mean, this thing had been used and abused and whatever.
Homemade brake there, drifting brake, that was so cool.
Stick welded in, man. You should have seen the welds on it.
And the hole that they've cut just looks like they've done it with a jackhammer with their eyes closed.
Yeah, nice.
Really quite dodgy, but
Drifting in auto.
at the same time.
I'm sure it's, if you've got enough power, I'm sure it's not that hard.
I think these switches had something to do with that, Martin.
Yeah.
Ben can do it, then I can do it.
then he can do it. He knows.
For some reason, I thought the flares were going to be like explosive because I'd never let one off before, and when I lit it, it literally was just like a match. It didn't do anything.
It's a torch.
I don't know how they're meant to like save you. Maybe it's kind of like you put them in a stand and leave it by your car or something. We'll have to ask Steve King about that.
Yeah, especially in a country where there's not, like, there's people everywhere. It's not like you're going to be in the middle of the outback.
I mean, I can understand if you're in the middle of the outback in a boat and you could shoot it into the sky, but, you know, it's... don't understand. But they have to have them. Every car's got one. I went on a big rant in the video about import and stuff, you know, when I brought in one of my 180s and quarantine failed it, but then it did come through with the flare, but we decided to cut it out because it wasn't needed. Now, amazingly, Marty was very kind to bring me over 1,000 lemon drink here, and last time I drank one of these, my guts exploded, and it just, nothing happened this time. And I think, Martin, it's because I drink 3 of them a day in Japan every time we go, so I've drunk so many, and just, I'm immune now. Look at this.
No burp.
And Marty says, no burp.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah,
I'm
because the
immune.
reaction on the original one was just so
It was explosive,
massive.
wasn't
It
it?
was big.
Just got to drop off the exhaust. We are going to kick this and use it on our local
You always
car.
have, it goes through your head when you're in another country doing this kind of stuff, that if an exhaust falls on your face and breaks it, it's like, what do you do?
You'd buy another exhaust, Martin. Oh, you mean breaks your face?
What do you do? What do you do to get in your face?
That's fine. Ripping apart a car in the middle of a freaking rice.
So we're being a bit extra careful because we just got to
I
the
heard you
local
mention a
doctors.
number of times when we were doing it, Marty, you were kind of saying, oh, watch out, I don't want to break my face, and you said it so many times.
Everyone loves it. It's mad.
There was Rake just propping the tripod up.
Yeah, so there's still one hanger up here.
Everyone did love it, Martin, didn't they?
Yeah,
Your end will go though.
absolutely.
Yeah, mine's low, but I just don't want it to come slamming down on your face or something. As much as it is
More
for
face
content, it's
references.
Yep.
not- I don't want to fly home.
So
How
we-
weird was the little thing hanging off the side of this exhaust? Never seen
little-
anything like that
That little
before.
resonator thing
The
that
little-
does nothing but block noise.
The little dongle.
You see them on intakes a lot, but I haven't seen them on exhaust very often. Just to literally tune out an annoying sound, get rid of drones.
Yeah. Some engineer somewhere would have been sitting there with an oscilloscope and an SPL meter and just gone, add that on there. Let's go for Katsu.
Back in '89 or whatever this thing was made.
Just around the front of the shop, there was a drink machine. They're everywhere in Japan, and 100 yen, which is about $1, probably 90 cents actually. You can get any drink you want, delicious, like grape Fantas and stuff. So all day we're getting waters and
from airlocks in the cooling
delicious
systems.
things.
This is probably a kit made by an aftermarket.
And the funny thing was, I mean, we're in the middle of, you know, it's
Takes
pretty
all
much
the
a
air
rural
from the low
area,
points and takes it to the high point
and there's
leads
drink
you out.
machines.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You can go another 100 meters up the road and you'll find another one. It's such a big industry.
Next up, the
Hasn't
brake
caught on
fluid's
yet.
got to come
it's
out
literally like being 40 minutes out of Goulburn or Dubbo and just going along. There's literally just one sitting there, and they're not vandalised, they're not abused, they're clean, they work, they're great.
Cut off the brake
Always
line,
work.
'cause we've got to drain all the brake fluid out before we chop it in half so it didn't catch on fire or do anything weird like
It was
that.
funny. It was a funny feeling doing some of these kind of things when it came to chopping up brake lines and stuff. And it's just that thing of if it's going to take me 2 hours to do it and unbolt things, is it worth the extra time when I can chop it in 1 minute and be done? And then when I get home, just fix it.
Yeah, it's one of those hard things though to when we're used to trying to save everything
Yeah,
because
it's
we
it.
don't know what we're going to do with it.
Because we're about to put a big hot
Just got to separate it and go, no, that's actually junk. I don't need it.
That was Rob's son there who was helping us out. Even Japanese fuel cans look cool, don't they?
They do.
Red with that writing on it, so expressive.
The rest
So
of
nice.
the line needs to be extracted
That'll be the
because it's
phone,
holding the
Martin.
car together, which is the exact opposite of what we want.
Face reference.
Yep.
We need to be careful about faces now, Rob.
you were really worried, weren't
I
you?
was scared, man. Everything under that car is so heavy. Like the little Daihatsus and stuff, and even Subarus, it's all relatively lightweight. All that stuff's massive.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this is going to drop.
For this episode, being that it was the premiere for season 4, I spent a few days composing some new music for it. So there's 4 new pieces in this, and the Japanese music on the front was all performed by me. I mean, all the music performed by me, but it was kind of done with traditional instruments and traditional Japanese instruments. And then there's a new piece of music for the reveal of the car, and then a new piece at the end when it gets shipped off, and just helps keep it interesting.
And now we can cut it in half.
We really started to go ramp up now. It started to get really fun when people started, showing reciprocating saws and things.
Yeah, exactly. And just getting to shoot a car in half So shoot a car in half. Just getting to shooting a car in half would be great, but getting to cut a car in half in Japan is like something that I think you just need to do once in your life. Like,
Totally.
when you're 90 years old, you'll say to your mates, "I went to Japan to rice paddies and cut a car in half." If you're listening to this and you've never been to Japan, you just got to go. Flights are so cheap. Just your world will become bigger, and you will love it, and you buy some mad stuff while you're there.
Such a short distance to go to see such a crazy culture, and if you're into cars, then it's the place to go and see. That's for sure.
We're aligning the pallet under the front of the car.
It's interesting they don't use wooden
It'll be impossible to move without a forklift.
whatever they're called.
Pallets. Yeah.
Pallets.
Yeah,
Pallets
only
anymore.
plastic. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, but it makes sense, of course.
Heaps. And Japanese bondage tape. We actually managed to find this in a 100 yen shop. 100 yen buys you a whole roll.
Yeah, it's amazing, and that lasts you around about 14 people.
Someone in Australia, please take note of the
75.
awesomeness. This is an
They were
extension
overweight.
cable
This is
with
brilliant,
3 plugs
wasn't
on
it?
the
Yeah,
end.
I'm sure there's 50 safety
It's
reasons
just
why we
simple
can't do it here,
genius.
but yeah, what a mad
Like
thing.
all
You know what,
things
Marty?
Japanese.
This is, I mean, why don't we just buy Japanese ones and just put some Australian plugs on it?
Yeah, that's safe.
Yeah, why not?
Reciprocating saw. I'd never actually really had a reason to use one of these, but it's just a hacksaw blade on a giant jigsaw. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how easily it came through it.
Like butter.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, I mean, it took 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And everyone had a crack. We had a lot of fun with it. It's one of my favourite sequences coming up. We kind of, when the car split, we shot that maybe 6 or 7 times because I wanted to get it from a bunch of different angles, and so this is one of my favourite little sequences coming up where Mechanical Stick goes through the last bit of the windscreen and then we see all the different angles of the car going up.
Yeah, there it goes. It's such a strange feeling seeing that happen.
So weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is a shot as well. We mounted a GoPro on the front end of it and then just pulled it out again and got this, not that shot.
And
Yeah, this
that
one.
is how you cut a car in half.
A few people asked why we just didn't take the windscreen off completely, Martin.
It takes a lot of time. We were speaking to some wrecking yards and they said that they do because the windscreens are quite valuable, but I've tried to remove windscreens a few times and I know there's like specialist tools, but it's not easy.
Also, having, kind of 30 centimetres of it there does give you some minor protection anyway if things are laid on top because they're not laying directly on the dash, and we do want to keep the dash.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Quite light and easy to move around that thing too.
Yeah.
After
After we'd finished shooting, I went back and Mechanical Stick and Rake were just sitting in there, just chilling.
Just
It's
chilling
like,
out,
yeah,
'cause it's freaking hot.
Just chilling out.
Import Monster run a system that allows
Yeah, so there it was. We put a full version of this time lapse up on MCMTV2. Recaro on a forklift, only in Japan.
Brilliant.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And but that Recaro seat still didn't save me from what happened later. There's going to be some videos of me on the forklift going up to MCMTV2 later on. That was quite embarrassing to damage his house like that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I remember this.
Yeah, but he was quite nice.
And so they can pack containers full of those things. That's how
Yeah.
all these cars end up in Australia.
Now, originally my idea is that to get to this location, there was going to be shots of us going on different vehicles. First we're walking, then we're in an 86, then we're on a motorbike, but that whole sequence didn't work, so we didn't have shots of us going home, and so one of those shots was used for us. There we go off into the distance, Martin, like a couple of fools.
Yeah, can't wait for the second part of this. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So there it was. That was Imported Monster Part 1. It was really great to go to Japan. Massive thanks to Import Monster and, of course, Mechanical Stick and Rake. Steve King, who came with us to help out as well. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
And make sure you get to Japan if you can, because it's mad. Drink 1,000 lemons and then just burp in someone's face.